Straight ahead, Mia. Yep. We back. A.M.University. I'm your host, Antoine Miller. I believe this will be 61, 62. I'm losing count. I got a set of beautiful guests here today. I'm very pleased to have here the beautiful Mia Anderson Coles.
Hey, y'all.
Lady that wears many hats. She's currently at KIPP right now. She was an educator for I don't know how many years you've been an educator.
All my life I've been an
technically,
educator.
Yeah, that was a dumb question. She's been in education her whole life. And the dean of students at KIPP, who's the glue, he'll never say it. Very humble guy, been so since we was little kids. Brother David McKee.
Hey man,
appreciate
you. I'm doing well.
Finally got you on.
Finally, man. Finally, I've been waiting for the invite, man. I've been waiting for the invite, but
look at that.
I'm happy to be here, bro.
Thanks for the invite. I appreciate you on. So I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Y'all know I'm fully transparent. I wanted to go a whole different direction with this conversation. I feel it's going to come back to that a little bit, but I'm not a guy that, and everybody here actually, Mia just cursed me out for like a half an hour. We're not like a me versus you type of people. Like, you know, I speak for myself, a lot of people in this city is, and you know, it shouldn't be that way. I'm fortunate enough to be colleagues with these two people. They like to get to the root of problems and they really like to serve the community, preferably kids. So let's just start with a general, how do you feel we are as a city right now? Let's start there. How do y'all feel we are as a city right now? We could go straight to the kids. We can go any type of way that y'all want. How y'all feel we are as a city right now?
I mean, for me and us, you know, being fellow educators and, you know, working with the youth and that being like our primary focus right now, that's where my mind immediately goes. Yeah. When you talk about the pulse of the city. But even if you like zoom out from a larger perspective and I talk to people, you know, around the country and around the state, like just the state of education right now as a whole due to like the pandemic and kids being, you know, away from structure for almost 2 years now, or maybe even over 2 years now. I just think things are challenging right now. And then like just zooming back into your question, as far as the state of the city, I mean, I'm a CAMDEN fan through and through. So I always want the best for the city, for the community, and more specifically the kids. I see a lot of opportunity. Like I see a lot of opportunity coming to the city in the community. And it makes me excited, but also with new things comes uncertainty for others, right?
Absolutely.
So new things can make other people feel uncomfortable sometimes, right? When people get used to or accustomed to seeing a thing one way for a certain period of time, and then something new comes along, you know, it could be off-putting to some people. So that's something that, you know, I think we have to move past as a community, right? Like more opportunity for me is never a bad thing. So that's where I'm at right now as far as like where we're at with the community. I just think we can be a little bit more open to opportunity, a little bit more open to newness, new thinking, new ways of approaching situations, because a lot of our problems are the same. And if we're attacking them the same way as we've always done, we only gonna get the same results that we've always got. So that's where I'm at right now.
So I'm gonna piggyback off what Boo had to say. I think that people are afraid of change because they're scared of the unknown. I do think that change is good. I do see a shift in the city in a positive light. I like what I'm seeing right now. I pay attention to the little things. Change is not going to happen like overnight. Like my mom always used to tell me, Rome wasn't built in a day. We have to be more accepting because we've done our thing and we have to give those under us a chance to do theirs. So we can't put off what we were used to on them. We have to let them experience new things and let them grow. So I think that we're moving in the right direction right now, and we just need to listen more to those that are coming up under us and not be so, how can I say it, stuck in our own ways and putting our own thoughts and what we've been through and what we experienced on the kids. They have to learn and grow and do things that they're accustomed to in their own time and in their own way. So we just have to be more accepting to change and, let everybody be able to create their own destiny.
I feel like there's a lot more opportunities in the city.
Absolutely.
Do y'all think we embracing those opportunities as a whole though? Like, I don't know. It's just something for me, and it's frustrating for me in the black community. Like, we don't want to change anything. Like, if I got food stamps, like, I'm not gonna try to better myself and like go, take on the career path that I want. No, this is fine. It's not great, but it's fine. Schooling, money coming to the city, all these type of things, regardless of where it's coming from, how it's coming here, it's here.
Absolutely.
And you got just as much opportunity as anybody else to go get it. Like, so, I don't know. Like, I just feel like we always on the back end of all these things that we talking about. Like, we always late to the party. And like, I don't want that no more.
Nah.
Absolutely. I don't think nobody really wants it. My thing is, you talking about food stamps. I want a Family First card. Let's talk about that.
I did not say that. You know what I mean? We all do.
Listen, I want a Family First card.
No, we don't.
But on a more serious note, that was just a little joke. But on a more serious note, it's fine. You shout out.
So for me, I think bringing it back with the change and opportunity coming to the city, and maybe people not really being open to embracing it or open to new things. For me, it comes with like exposure. Like, do people fully understand what these opportunities are? Are people expressing how these opportunities could change their life in a way that resonates with them and that hits home with them, right? Like, for me, it's communication. Communication is not how many words you know in the dictionary, right? Communication is how well others are able to understand you and how well your message lands with someone else, right? So I could talk and say all these big words, but if the people I'm delivering them to don't understand, the message don't get there. So why we know what opportunities are here, maybe some other people don't quite understand those opportunities and how them opportunities can really impact and change their life. So for me, that's why I like to see people like us now working in the school system with kids, because now you can deliver the message that they need to get, but it's in the way that they understand it, right? Because we're all experts. Y'all are experts in how to survive and come up in this environment and how to make a positive pathway in such a challenging environment, right? So other people may not, from outside this community, may not be able to explain to the young people in the way that they get it, right? And unfortunately, a lot of times people in our community don't necessarily have the credentials that people would say it takes to work with kids. So then you get these folks who do have the credentials that come in, but then can't communicate in a way that we can. And then that's where we got the disconnect at. You feel me? So that's for me why I'm so happy to see y'all, you know what I mean, doing what y'all do on a day-to-day basis, because I know it's what's best for kids and I know that they're getting it in a way that they understand it.
I'm going to say this. Working for the Camden City School District in the past, I was always asked the question. I would have clothes in my office and I would have like street gear, and McKee can attest to this, and I would have like business gear. So when I had to do like a thing where it was principals from like different states came in, and I was the one showing them what I did on a, on a regular, like a day in the life of an FOC. So they wanted to know why I had 2 sets of clothing. Like, why do you have like street gear and why do you have like business gear? And I said, because I like to meet the people that I'm servicing where they are. So if I know grandmom is raising grandchild and I have to go pay grandmom a visit, I know that grandmom is not going to want to see me come in there looking hood. And I know that if I was servicing a younger parent, they're not going to want to see me come into their house in a business suit. So I always like to meet the people where they were. You understand what I'm saying? And people don't get it. And when I gave that explanation to those principals, they were floored. They were like blown away. And I say, yeah, I like to meet people where they are and have them feeling comfortable. If I'm coming to your house, I don't want you to feel comfortable in your own home because of me and my presence in your home. That's your home. That's the place where you're most comfortable. So why should I make you feel less than in your own private space? You understand what I'm saying? And people got to know how to, meet people where they are. And not only that, if you're meeting them where they are, and once you meet them where they are and they still not understanding you, explain to them what you mean. Like, be transparent. And people don't want to do that. It's just like, do as I say. It's not always do as you say. You have to be.
Why don't we get that?
You have to be like, you have to show compassion. You have to show empathy. You have to show, what's the word I'm looking for?
Overall understanding.
Yeah, understanding, but it's a word that I'm looking for that in my mind has went blank. And when I start talking about this thing, I'm so passionate because I was that teenage mom who felt like inferior to others. And I don't want to put that on anybody else that I encounter. I'm all about uplifting people. I don't want anybody to feel inferior to me. You understand what I'm saying? And I can attest to that because I had people who made me feel that way because I was that teenage mom. You understand what I'm saying? So, you got to meet people where they are, and you have to let them know that they don't have to feel inferior, and you don't always have to think and show that you're superior.
Yeah. If you didn't know already, we're all employees of KIPP currently, KIPP High School. Like, so we're saying that, Mia already alluded to it for her, but Boo, what keeps you going? Like, cause I'm tired right now. I'm exhausted right now after practice in school. Like, and we all go through our emotions daily, our fatigue, our life away from this that we gotta deal with. And we gotta come and be Superman and Superwoman every day for these kids.
Every day.
So it has to be an underlying thing that keeps all of us going. What's yours?
Man, for me, it's like understanding the need, right? Understanding the need that they have for us, right? So, and then, like Mia just said a little while ago, like connecting your why with their why. Like, I remember being in a position where I needed somebody, and then what it feels like to not have somebody to rely on and not have somebody to extend that hand to you, right? So even on the days where I'm my most frustrated, like I deal with behaviors in school, right? So that's what I'm dealing with, and it's often challenging. So kids can sometimes get the idea that I'm the bad guy or whatever, and that don't get to me either, because I know in the long run they're going to understand the message that I was trying to get to them, and that a consequence or a being held accountable for your actions will help you grow in the long run. But to get back to the original why, it's just that, like, understanding the need. These young people need us. Like, they rely upon us. We pour into them every single day in ways that they might not get in their everyday life. Like, we understand the community, we understand the challenges that our kids face. And if we can be that bright spot for 6-7 hours a day, I feel like I owe that back to the community, right? Like, like I feel indebted to the community in that regard.
And I always say, I wish I had a me when I was in school. So that's why I do what I do. If I had a me when I was in school, I don't think I would have been a teenage mom. If I had a me when I was in school, I think I would have I think I'm doing pretty good for myself, but I think I would have taken a different path. And I just had this conversation with one of the students today. I said, listen, if I keep getting on you and bugging you and blowing your shit, that's what they tell us, we're blowing their shit. I said, if I'm doing that, it's because I care and I believe in you. The day that I see you doing something wrong and I don't address it, you lost me. I don't believe in you no more. I don't think I can give you anything. And I've never been there yet. I've never not stop getting on a student or a child in the community. Everybody knows I go all out for a child, period. I don't care. They don't even have to go to a school in which I'm working at.
Right.
But I always tell a kid, I try to, get them to understand where I'm coming from. The day that I stop blowing your shit is the day I don't think you're going to be shit. So I've yet to not stop talking and giving my opinion and pushing a child. So I can't see myself giving up on them because I try to be the me for them that I wish I had when I was in school.
Right.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I had to say this like on 8 different episodes, like about, I don't know how you feel, Boo, but I mean, we in the same generation. It's like, yo, ain't nobody help us, bro.
Right.
Like, and I feel that's so selfish and like it makes me so frustrated. But at the same time, that's my why. Like, nobody was there. Like, everybody wanted to be cool with us. Like, remember, bro, we was in high school. We should have been like locked up for getting pulled over, drinking, things like that.
Right.
Y'all would pull us over and laugh with us. And let us go. We 15, 16 years old.
No accountability.
We think it's fine at the time. Like, that's cool that y'all did. That wasn't cool.
Right.
You a 36-year-old police officer, yo.
Right.
Do something to us. Like, take us in the back, scare us or
you
something.
Say scared straight. I was scared straight. I used to fight all the time.
Not us.
I was scared straight. Let me tell you something. Lenny Hall, may he rest in peace, took me and my crew down to the CAMDEN police station in their basement and was like, y'all want to think y'all tough? I got something for y'all. You talk about scared straight. You see Lenny Hall, big hands? Y'all remember Lenny Hall? Those big hands? All you had to do was show your hand. And I want to revert back to like, I'm gonna bleed purple and gold until I die because that's my alma mater. But I can always revert back to a story whereas somebody was putting me in my place there. And I'm speaking on, may he rest in peace, Mr. Jenkins. If we had a Mr. Jenkins now, and a Lenny Hall now, a lot of things that's going on in the city would not be taking place because they genuinely cared. So now we have a you and we have a boo, you know what I mean? And I know people, what did I say in our PD today? I don't like shouting out McKee because that's the type of relationship that he and I had and vice versa. Like, nah, me, like I hear where you coming from, but I don't agree with you on that. We can agree to disagree and not hold no ill intent to people.
Ain't that a beautiful relationship?
Absolutely.
No, because I'm saying it. That's a small portion of the world that you can do that with. What you just said with him and vice versa.
But that's
and
we've always
when
been
you
like
find
that.
When you find that, that's a gorgeous.
And that's why she a part of my team.
But
mentioning Mr. Jenkins is funny because like when I first assumed the dean of students at Camden High role, like all the older parents from that generation, when they would come in, they were like, oh, you the dean of students? Oh, you the Mr. Jenkins. You the new Mr. Jenkins. And I never had the honor of meeting Mr. Jenkins, but like I heard a lot of great stories about him. And, he was strict, a disciplinarian in every sense of the word. But in talking to the adults when they would come into my office, they was thankful for what he did for them and the lessons that he taught. But, getting back to what you said, Twan, like, we got to also take into consideration like the times that we grew up in, right? Like we was coming up in the 90s, late in the 90s. We was born in the late 80s, where a lot of our men in our generation was being victim to the system, right? So like we ain't really have a lot of people that was around that could really like steer us in the right direction. It was a few, so I don't never want to take away from, you know, people that been community stalwarts for years.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It was a few people.
I mean, Coach Orlando comes to
Right,
mind.
right,
a couple people.
He's still Coach Orlando is still phenomenal.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, you're right.
But like you said, it wasn't a lot, right? And it was more so like people trying to be cool with us and, you know what I mean, want to joke instead of giving us the message that we needed. And one thing I know about kids, especially having the experience that I got now with working with teenagers, is like kind of like when you go bowling, like they need you to put them rails up on the side of them. Like you got to let them do their own thing, but you got to put them rails up on the sides of them so they can't go too far off one way or another. Because at the end of the day, like in our community, when a 16, 17-year-old make a mistake, that mistake could be life-changing.
Absolutely,
and a mistake that they can't come back from. Where in other communities, that same 15, 16-year-old make a mistake, it's like he can learn his lesson, we can rehabilitate him, we can do whatever. Once we get those records and them blemishes on our record, in some instances, it's really, really difficult to come back from, because we don't have a lot of ownership. So we rely on other people to give us jobs. Whereas in folks from other communities can do whatever, have anything on their record, and it's cool because my dad owns this law firm, or my mom works at this medical facility or whatever, and I'm gonna have a job regardless, or we got a family business or anything. So my mistakes ain't as serious as the mistakes that we have here. You know what I'm saying? So like, again, for me, it's that obligation, and then also being a kid that did make some serious mistakes in my adolescence, in my teen years, you know what I mean? And not, like you said, having that person that guide me and had that difficult conversation with me, like, you know what I mean? It was kind of, we was left to our own, and whatever mistakes we made and whatever setbacks we had to deal with them. And it took me into my mid-20s to even be awarded, or not even, I wouldn't even say awarded, but being able to have a career in which something I went to school for and got degrees for and all that. But because I had a blemish on my record from when I was 17 years old, I couldn't find a job. Like it just was, it was so.
How'd you feel when that happened, real quick?
Bro, like I felt like,
because look, I wanted them cut off.
No, go ahead.
I ain't saying this because you're here and I know you. He's smart. This dude, he always been like 7th, 8th grade.
You know,
like not just grades and things
right.
like that. He's a smart guy, bro. Like a really smart dude. Like, and I know you know that about yourself, and you always applied yourself when needed, right? So when this happens, what's your thought process about like the world and about how does it set up?
Man, listen, like again, it goes back to the why and the why I'm doing what I'm doing right now. I tell the kid every day they come in my office, I tell them the light will come on at some point in your life. Like you're going to understand at some point in your life, like, yo, this is right, this is wrong. My job and our job is to get that light to cut on before it's too late, before they sitting in a jail cell, or they on a deathbed about to be put down in the grave. You feel me? Like, back to your question, like I was ready to give up. I at one point was about to turn my life over to the streets, in which you know me. We grew up together. You knew me from 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, whatever it was. You know that is not necessarily my heart. You know what I mean? Like you said, I enjoyed school. We was all athletic. We enjoyed sports. But I almost became victim to my environment and my circumstances. And then even more so, victim to one mistake that I made as a teenager, right? And was ready to be, I got judged for the next 8 years of my life off of the mistake and the decision that I made at 17. So it was crazy to me. Like I genuinely wanted to give up. Like many of times wanted to give up. Now, obviously sitting here in the space that we're in today, like I'm thankful I didn't, because now I get a chance to give back. So consciously, like we was athletes growing up, right? So all we knew was sports. Like that's the way we gonna save our family. That's the way we gonna get out of our community. Yeah. That's how we gonna get the money that we need, right? Yeah. that's all we knew was sports. So once sports got taken away, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, it's an expiration date on sports, whether you go pro or you don't. And that's another thing I try to tell the kids. But I say all that to say, like, once I knew in my mind that sports was no longer an option, it was like, how could I have the next greatest impact on my family and my community? What can I do I wasn't going to be able to give money back and donate millions of dollars back, but what can I give back to my community? And in my mind, that's what I came up with, like giving back to the kids. That's how I can have the greatest impact. That's how I can affect lives. That's how I can help kids avoid the obstacles that I hit in them years. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm here, and that's why I do what I do. And that's, you know what I mean? I'm thankful. It's a very thankless job sometimes, but at the end of the day, for me, it's about the long game. It's about seeing a kid and meeting a kid at 14 and then watching that kid get married or have a kid or start a career or graduate college at 22, 23, and they're a completely different person than when you met them at 14, 15. So, you know what I mean? That's my spew.
That's crazy because I was like the total opposite. You know, being that teenage mom, I didn't want to be the statistic. I didn't want to be the teenage mom on welfare. You know what I mean? I was always a go-getter. My mom instilled in us, you have to have more than one stream of income. You need multiple streams of income. So I was doing things at a young age, like babysitting and doing all kinds of things. But I knew, even though I was a teenage mom, I was like, Mia, you're not even grown yet. You're not even out of school, and you got so many strikes against you. I was black. I was a female. I was a teenage mom. You see what I'm saying? So I already had 3 strikes against me before I was even an adult. So I was determined to do better. I was the first in my family to do everything. The first to obtain a high school diploma. The first to enter the hallway at a college / university. So I was the first. So it was like I had the whole family on my back. And that was hard for me. But I knew that I wanted more. I knew that I wanted to be a business owner. I knew that I wanted to give back to my community. I knew that I was going to be something more than just that teenage mom. You know what I mean? So I share, I'm like an open book with my students. And I tell them, you demand your education. I don't care if you're a teenage mom. I don't care if you've been to jail. You don't let that define you. You don't let nobody write your book. You be the author of your own book because no one can tell your story better than you. So saying that to say, I always try to push them more, more and more and more. And I always say, so you going to let them tell your story? You going to let them define who you are? You don't do that. You don't. You keep going. One of my students saw my ring and said, oh, Miss Me, I didn't know you was married. And me, automatically I turned my ring around. I said, oh, you being in my personal business. And she said, what you mean I'm being in your personal business? Like, you should want us to know you married. That gives us something to look forward to. We don't see that a lot. So you're up close and personal in our space and you're married. That's a huge thing for us. And I said, wow,
look at that.
you what I tell you, Antoine, every day I want to learn something new. And I said, wow, I'm thinking outside the box, but you just put me in my place, not being disrespectful, but in a good way. And you made me think a different way. I never thought about that. I just thought you was trying to be all up in my personal business. When you said, no, Miss Mia, don't hide that. Show us so we can know that we don't just want to be a girlfriend, we want to be a wife. And I said, wow, that was deep. You know what I mean? So we teach them, but they also teach us. Absolutely. You understand what I'm saying? And every day I go to work, I learn something new about one of the students that we're providing a service for. We learn stuff from them. It's not just that they're learning stuff from us. And if you just pay attention to what they're telling you, they have so much to say and so much to share. And they are very intelligent. And we don't give them the credit that's due to them. You understand what I'm saying? Again. So I take time to listen now. I sit back and I listen and I absorb what they're telling me. And I tell them, thanks for sharing. I learned something new. Thank you. Because I don't know it all. And I don't care that I'm a mom and all of that. you're teaching me, and I'm learning from you just as well as you're learning from me. You know what I mean? So you just got to pay attention to what they're trying to share with you. And it makes me feel good to know that they're comfortable enough to share these things with me. You know, it's like we always think the worst or think something negative. And I'm so happy that I'm able to, you know what I mean, draw a line between the two. Like I always say, oh, well, Mia, well, think about it this way. And that was because of that student. You understand what I'm saying? So now I always tread lightly. I take the time to think about what I'm going to say before I respond to them and all of that. Because we're dealing with some pretty smart kids. And just being able to relate to them and what they're going through and them pouring into you just as well as you pouring into them is deep. It's real deep.
I'm sitting here listening to y'all talk. Like I know Boo's story, like, because we grew up together. We just started. Mia didn't like me. Real quick.
Let's get this straight, Antoine. It's not that I didn't like Antoine. I didn't know Antoine.
She wouldn't speak to me at KIPP.
Stop lying!
Like at all. At all.
Tell the truth, shame the devil.
But with saying that, you know, in a short amount of time, I think I'm a really good judge of character, and you know, she's an amazing person, and I'm listening to her talk and us having dialogue in a short time that we've known each other. It's just listening to y'all, like, y'all are fighters, yo, like both of y'all, and I want to congratulate y'all, like, on camera, like just for that, like, y'all ain't got divulging it, y'all been through a lot of things, and it's like, I see people like today, like they just, man, nah, this is too, I'm quitting. And everybody got their vices on their ways to go about it. Like they like, no, I'm not fighting anymore. I'm giving in, that's it, with life. Right? And it disappoints, these are people I care about like dearly, and it disappoints me so much. Like, you got so much to offer the world and you're so talented. And I'm sitting here with two people that y'all fought. Like, y'all fought, and now y'all on the other side. Y'all getting on the other side, and y'all working on it daily, and now y'all giving back. It's just like, it's so refreshing to see, and our kids is so better off for that. Like, y'all saw, I just had Nye on here, and like Nye, nobody says she should be a dance teacher. Like, this is the era when you go to, you go to college and you get a degree, and we all happy for you, and that's your life. And she did not do it. She went against adults. We didn't go against adults in our era. What? Are you insane?
I was one of the people who pushed her. I told her we shut down a whole dance school because I said, nah, you open up the dance school, I'm gonna get everybody to follow you.
Look at that.
And we shut down where she was working at because we took all of the business from there and brought it to Nye. I love everything that she stands for. She is the truth, and she is for our kids. Nye has done a lot for my family in particular, especially my baby. I was wasting tons and tons of money because my daughter would just stand on that stage. I don't know what Nye did with my baby, but my baby, whatever she said to her, that very next day, my baby started dancing. You hear me?
That's what I want to tap into, because that kind of like stares back to where we took off with this, right? Like the state of the community. And that's what I'm really, really excited about, right? Is that we got folks, a lot of people in our generation that's in place right now that's making things happen for the community.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So like the outlook is looking so much better than it did 20 years ago. You know what I mean? When we was coming up and when we was finding ourselves, like it's so many positive people, and shout out to Nye and Dare to Dance and everything that they doing.
Absolutely.
And everybody that's doing what they need to do in the community, because it's a lot shaking. For me, the next level is coming together now. You know what I mean? Like, we all tending to operate in our own silos, in our own sectors, and the ultimate force is us together. You know what I mean? And not seeing us as competition, right? Like, you know, like you're establishing your new basketball program. So people in the community is now looking at you first and foremost as competition.
Should be that way.
And not as opportunity, right? And then why is that? Like, that's a mindset thing. And for me, my understanding of it is the environment that we come up, it's not a lot of resources. So we feel like we have to fight for everything that we get. You know what I mean? That's my understanding of it, but I don't like to speak for other people because everybody's story, of course, is unique to them. But from my perspective, the next level of what we can become as a community in the city of Camden is always going to be together. You know what I mean? It's not going to be dividing everybody up and everybody feeling like they have to do it all by themselves. It's one, building that trust, like we building, because I get to see your work ethic every day. So it don't matter what somebody else in the community say about Antoine, I witness your work ethic every day. You know what I mean? So it don't matter. Anybody can say anything different. It don't matter to me because I witness it and I see it, and that's the truth.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's just, to me, like I said, just going back to coming back together, man, and not viewing everything as competition. Competition is a good thing as an athlete, right?
Friendly
but
competition.
It can't be destructive competition where you got to starve in order for me to eat. You know what I mean? It can't be that. Like, I want to win, and I'm cool with that. You know what I mean? I know you want to win. If you win, I got to be gracious in defeat. And if I win, you got to be gracious in defeat. It can't be, oh, you won, so now I got to stab him in the back and try to hurt him, and we can't do that. You know what I mean? So,
Antoine, what was the story I shared with y'all about if we're all a part of a team and I'm just the only one eating, I got to worry about you what?
Taking your food.
right.
So why not let everybody eat? I just don't understand why we can't do that. Why can't everybody eat? Like, what is the big deal? My mindset is this. I don't care who gets credit for the job getting done as long as it's getting done, period. And if we're here to service the kids, who done what or whose name is on what. If we're a team, I don't care if MCKEE name is on it. I don't care if your name is on it. I know we did it as a team. And we did it, and the kids is being serviced, and they are, you know what I mean, on the project. It got done. And that's always been me. So, you know,
The goal is to win.
I was involved in a lot of projects within the city,
Goal is to win.
but I
goal
had
is
to
to
back
win.
away because they didn't align to what my spirit felt was right. And if something don't sit well in my spirit, I got to back away from it. So I removed myself from a lot of things. But this thing that I'm a part of right now, this thing right here, I'm not removing myself from.
We here. We here.
I am not
Tell them.
removing myself from this thing right here.
all.
Because this thing right here that we're building
Tell them.
is something big. It's going to be great. It's going to be great.
Absolutely.
And we're providing a service for our kids in this city.
Straight like that.
You got something else, Boo? Because I think that's a.
I like that.
That's a good
Right.
way. I don't want to say
We
another
still
word.
we still recording, Mr.
That was some.
That was powerful.
That
I like that.
That was it.
That was it.
Good shit. Nah, I appreciate
I appreciate that.
That was it.
Nah, that was dope. You stamped it.